back onto our back with your feet flat on the floor. Lengthen the back of the neck, pull the belly in, and focus on the breath up high in the rib cage. Your arms are long down by your side, your shoulders are out of the ears. I want you to rock your pelvis back so you feel the imprint, and then lift your hips up so you come up into a bridge. Hold the hips up high for a deep breath, and then slowly roll back down until you rest right back into the imprint. We'll just do 2 more bridges like that, peeling your spine up, lifting the hips, press the arms into the floor, and then slowly rolling all the way back down. 1 more, lift up. Now hold this bridge a little bit longer, pressing the toes into the mat, lift the hips a little higher, squeeze your glutes, pull up on the pelvic floor, reach longer arms, and then rolling right back down until you rest. Keep your feet flat on the floor. You can change from imprint to neutral on this one now if you want to, because we're gonna do the ab curls where you flex the upper spine up. Curl up, look into the belly, and then rest head and shoulders back down to the floor. Curling up, exhaling, and then inhale, resting back down. 2 more. Hollow out the abdomen, pulling the belly in. Remember that breath is up high in the rib cage. After you rest back down, just stay down. Keep your knees together now and drop your knees to one side for a stretch. And then we'll bring the knees up and over to the other side. We're going to go into some hamstring stretches and then the leg circles. So you can keep one leg bent with foot on the floor, or you can lengthen that leg down to straight on the mat. But the opposite leg is going to kick to the ceiling, grab onto that leg and pull it in for a stretch. Shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. If that lower leg is on the floor, it is going to be a deeper stretch than keeping it bent, but sometimes it feels better on the low back to keep it bent, so you can just choose what you want to do with that leg. Pull the lifted leg in a little deeper. And we're going to keep that lifted leg straight to the ceiling as you bring your hands down by your side, and we're going into some leg circles. So you could go in either direction. Inhale as you start, exhale as you finish. Think about narrowing the waistline, pulling the belly in. Shoulders shrug down out of the ears. Keep that lower leg still tight, strong working leg. Do 1 more circle in this direction, and then pause when the leg is at the top so you can flex both feet and draw the circle in the opposite direction. Shoulders still shrug down, lengthening the back of the neck. Focus on your pelvis too. We're trying to keep both hip bones squared off, facing the ceiling, not moving the pelvis as you're rolling through that hip joint. Think longer, straighter legs too. Do 1 more circle. When you bring that leg to the ceiling, grab onto the leg and pull it in for another hamstring stretch. You can go ahead and rest that leg down to the floor. We'll do the same set on the other side. So reaching through the toes, start your circle. Inhale as you start, exhale as you finish. Always think, trying to narrow that waistline, pulling the belly in. Keep the lower leg tight and strong. Pressing the shoulders down. Deep breath up high in the rib cage for 1 more circle. When you bring it up, you're going to hold, flex both feet, and then go in the opposite direction. Let me go ahead and let Sally in. There you go. Longer, straighter legs. Remember that lower leg on the floor, still tight and strong working. You do your last circle, and when you bring that leg to the ceiling, grab on and pull it in for a stretch. Flexing the foot. Now with both legs bent, we're going to do hip stretch. So cross one ankle over the opposite knee and then hug it into your chest. Still taking the deep breaths. When you're hugging it in, keep your shoulders down out of the ears. We'll do the same stretch on the other side. Ankle to the knee and pull it in. Still breathing. Now when you're ready to uncross the legs, we're going to do the toe taps. So this one, if you have the ball, you can put the ball between the knees. I don't have my ball today, but we're going to bring the legs up to tabletop position. If you needed to modify this, you could do the alternating single leg. But if you have that ball, obviously you have to keep the legs together. So before we even start with the legs at tabletop, find your neutral. So hip bones and pubic bone on the same plane, pull the belly in, and then both legs are going to lower and lift. You're trying not to move the lumbar spine, Try not to move the pelvis. Make those inner thighs work harder, squeezing the legs together. Shoulders still shrugged down out of the ears. Now keep doing the toe taps, but take breaks if you need it. If you can work your abs a little harder, flex the upper spine up, looking at the belly. Squeezing the legs together, shoulders shrugged down. Now get the feet real close to the floor, but don't let them touch the mat. Just hold it and hover, pull the belly in, squeeze that ball a little tighter if you have it, and then you can go ahead and rest the feet. And we're going into the 100 next. So if you have that ball and you want to keep using it, move it between your ankles. I'm going to use my ring because I have that. We're going to hold the ring or ball between the ankles, curl up, look into the belly, lengthen arms and legs out to straight, and then start pumping the arms. Inhale for 5 counts, exhale for 5. Try to get the legs a little lower if you can. Remember, shoulders are still shrugging down out of the ears. Always pulling up on the pelvic floor too. Try to get those legs longer, straighter, point the feet, reach through the toes. We're halfway done. Try to get those legs a little lower as long as you're not feeling stress in the low back. Try to curl the upper spine up a little bit higher. Hopefully you're not feeling a lot of stress in the neck, but if you are, you can go ahead and do this with the head and shoulders down onto the floor. Inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5. This is our last 10 count. Now after you exhale, hold everything still, curl up higher, and then you can go ahead and rest back down. So go ahead and put that ring between your hands. You can use your ball between your hands. The legs are down onto the floor and they're straight. We're gonna do our roll-ups. Legs are on the floor, arms are long, straight, squeezing that ball or ring, and then bring head and shoulders up and come all the way up over the legs and stretch. Stack your spine up to straight, shoulders shrug down, and then roll all the way back down to the floor. Arms to the ceiling, take a deep breath in, exhale as you pull up. Try to stretch out the legs a little further, stacking back up to straight, and then rolling back down. Good, it's not a smooth roll up. You could always do the modified version where you start seated, and then you roll down just before you feel like you're gonna fall and collapse, you come right back up and stretch over the legs. Remember to always grow up tall and straight after you do that forward fold, and then rolling back down to the floor. Coming all the way up for one more stretch. Now before we go down to the ground again to lay on our back, I want you to fall back about halfway and hold it. So get to this lounging, reclining position and stay there. Squeeze the legs together, shoulders shrug down, and we're gonna draw big circles with the arms. Really focus on the lowest part of the abdomen. Pulling that belly in deeper. Change direction of the circle. So focus on the breath up high in the rib cage. Keep pulling the belly in, keep gluing the legs together. One more circle, and then you're gonna hold everything still, take a deep breath, and then roll all the way down to the floor, and then you can finally relax. So get rid of the ring or the ball, we don't need that anymore. If you wanted to use your roller, you can put it underneath your feet for our bridging, but you don't have to. You can just keep your feet flat on the floor. I'm gonna use my roller. Hands are by your side. Roll the shoulders down and back, pull the belly in, and I want you to lift your hips up into the bridge. Holding the hips up high, stay there. You're gonna kick one leg to the ceiling, bring it back down to the roller, kick the other leg to the ceiling, and bring it back down. Keeping the pelvis level so it's not tipping left and right with the alternating leg kicks. Make sure you fully extend that leg straight up to the ceiling, hollow out the abdomen. One more kick on each side. And then you're gonna hold both feet to the roller, take a deep breath, and then slowly roll the spine back down to the floor and hold it. Take a deep breath in, we're gonna get the hips up again. Hold the hips up high, kick one leg to the ceiling, keep it straight up. Those legs stay straight as it lowers halfway, and then kick it right back up to the ceiling. If you can add to the coordination, do a flex and point, flex and point. You got one more. Then you're gonna go ahead and rest the foot, keep the hips up as opposite legs turn, flexing and pointing. Keeping the hips up, keep your arms long, pressing down into the floor. Do your last lower and lift of that leg. Rest the foot to the floor so both feet are down, take a deep breath, and then slowly roll down until you rest. So now the next one's single leg bridging. You can stay on the roller if you have it, or you can go back to flat feet on the floor. So the single leg, start off with one leg straight, thighs are parallel, and hopefully those thighs stay parallel the whole time. Another way to work harder, but to make it easier to keep the thighs parallel, is put the ball between the knees if you want to. You're gonna go ahead and lift the hips up, hold the hips up high, take a deep breath, and then slowly roll the spine right back down until you rest. And again, lifting the hips, still same leg is long, straight, and reaching, rolling back down. You have 2 more on the single leg. Hold the hips up high, and then rolling down. You got 1 more. And then resting back down. Now we're gonna do 4 bridges on the other single leg. Lengthen that leg long and straight, lift the hips up, hold the hips up high for a deep breath, and then rolling right back down into your rest. And again, lifting the hips and rolling down. Remember, your arms are still strong, pressing down. The slower you move, the easier it is to articulate through your spine. But then the harder you have to work in that leg to let yourself go down slow. So our last one. And then resting back down. Now you can cross one leg over the other. So I call this sitting like a lady. So the legs knee over knee instead of ankle over knee, and then drop the legs to the side. So if your left leg is on top, your legs should be to the right. And then when you come back to center, cross the leg over, and then drop the legs to the opposite side of that top leg. So now if the right leg is on top, your legs are falling to the left. When you come right back to center, you can get rid of that roller if you have it. So if you want to push it back towards the back, bottom edge of your mat, because it'll be there for swan when we get to the swan. So we're going to go into our ab series. Legs are at tabletop. Curl up, look into the belly. Hug one knee into your chest, other leg reaches long, and then you switch. Remember, you're using the upper back to shrug your shoulders down. If you're just getting a lot of stress in the neck, you either need to curl up a little bit higher and keep chin to chest, or you can keep your head down onto the floor. You don't have to stay curled up. Every time that right leg reaches long, think force in there out of the lungs. Lengthen that leg a little more. When you bring both legs together, glue them together, both legs reach forward, arms extend back, and then you come back into a little ball. Inhale as you open, exhale, come back to center. Squeezing the inner thighs together, shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. Still trying to narrow the waistline. You have 1 more. When you come back to center, we're gonna go into scissor kicks. 1 leg to the ceiling, 1 leg falls to the floor, and then pull it in. Using upper back still to keep the shoulders out of the ears. Think longer, straighter legs. Now bring both legs to the ceiling, rest on head and shoulders. Arms are strong, pressing into the mat. Maintain neutral spine here as you're hinging through the hip joint. Both legs lower on the inhale, and then lift on the exhale. Try not to let the abdomen lift towards the ceiling as the legs get lower. So keep trying to draw the navel in. Keep gluing the inner thighs together. Even think longer, straighter legs reaching through the toes. Just do 1 more, lower and lift. And then you bring the legs to the ceiling. You're going to pause, bend the legs to tabletop. Fingers are laced together behind your head. Curl up, look into the belly, and then twist towards the bent leg and switch. Now when you're rotating, think bringing the air out of the lungs. Keep elbows wide, shoulders down. Try to curl up a little bit higher so you're trying to get that armpit towards the knee instead of the elbow to the knee. Give yourself enough time to lengthen that leg all the way out to straight. You could do 1 more rotation on each side, and then when you bring it right back to center, you get a rest. Lengthen the legs down onto the floor. Reach your arms way back overhead and stretch through your abdomen. Now, if you have your ring or your ball, you can grab onto it if you want to use it for the side leg series. So roll to your side, either side is fine. Line yourself up with the back edge of the mat. Prop yourself up onto your elbow if you can, but feel free to go all the way down to the floor and rest if you want. Both legs are forward slightly to help with the balance, and you're going to point and flex as you're lifting the top leg. You can challenge your balance a little more if you want to bring the legs back so you're in a straighter line. Inhaling and exhaling. Every time those legs meet to center, squeeze the inner thighs together. Still trying to narrow the waistline, pulling the belly in. Use the upper back to shrug the shoulders down. Keep pressing into the ring. Do one more lift and lower, and then hold the leg at hip height and draw small circles. Still trying to narrow the waistline. Keep pushing the floor away. Rolling the shoulders down and back. Now you're going to keep the leg long and straight, flex the foot and go in the opposite direction. Keep pushing the floor away through the elbow. Keep that leg lifted at hip height. Reach it longer and keep the foot flexed as you swing the leg forward and back. Try not to sway, try not to move the upper body. Still pulling the shoulder blades together and down. Pull the belly in a little deeper and press harder into that ring if you have it, or the ball. You can do your last forward kick, last kick back, still not moving the upper body, and then hold the legs together. So if you have your ring, you can put it between your ankles. Same if you have the ball, you can put it between your ankles, but you are going to go all the way down onto the floor. If you don't have the ball or ring, just keep the legs together, and then you're going to lift both legs and lower. Bring it down the center of your mat in a long straight line. Squeezing a little tighter. Remember, the shoulders still shrug down out of the ears. Try not to use that hand on the mat in front of you if you don't need it. Even forcing air out of the lungs. Now lift and hold, and then squeeze a little tighter. So this is pulses. If you don't have the ring or ball, your legs are going to do a quick open close for little beats. Otherwise, just sit here and squeeze a little tighter, release, squeeze a little tighter and release. Squeezing on that ball or ring. Keep the legs lifted. You have 2 more. And then you get to take a break. Let's go over to the other side. When you're on the other side, prop yourself up on your elbow if we did on the previous side. Legs forward slightly if you need help with the balance. Otherwise, draw them back. Press into the ring or the ball. And you're pointing and flexing as you're lifting and lowering the top leg. Hopefully you're still focused on the breath up high in the rib cage. Keep pushing the floor away. Shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. Keep that lower leg still tight and strong. Now hold the leg at hip height and just draw small circles. Rolling the shoulders down and back. Think longer, straighter leg too, reaching out of the hip. Don't let that lower leg get lazy. Go ahead and flex the foot and go in the opposite direction. Still breathing, breath up high in the rib cage. Before you know, that waistline starts sinking to the floor. So stay lifted long and straight through your spine. Keep the leg at least at hip height. And we are going to keep the foot flexed as you kick forward and back. Every time that leg goes back behind you, think squeezing the glutes. Still focus on not moving the upper body. That lower leg is acting like an anchor, kind of gluing you to the floor. Hopefully you're not gripping into the neck, not feeling tension there. After you kick back, bring the leg to center, and now we're going to go all the way down to the floor. So if you want to use your ball or ring like you did on the other side, put it between the ankles, lay all the way down, and then lift both legs on every exhale. If you don't need that hand in front of you, take it over the top leg. Squeezing that ball or ring tighter, again, not gripping into the neck. Balancing on the lower hip, pull the belly in deeper. Now lift and hold it, and you're going to do little beats, but if you don't have that ring or ball, you're just lifting and lowering the top leg. Keep the legs off the floor, not letting that lower leg rest. Squeeze a little tighter for 2 more. And then you get to finally relax. So get rid of the ring or the ball. Lay onto your belly now. Hopefully you have your head at the same end of the mat where the roller was. If it wasn't, just get the roller. If you don't want to use the roller, you don't have to. So I'm going to use it for swan. Means you're going to have straight arms on the roller, and the roller's kind of near your elbows, or just underneath the elbow, closer to the wrist. So when you lift up for swan, use your back and lift, and the roller just comes towards you, and then you roll back down to the floor. If you don't want to use the roller, your hands are just tucked by your side, and you lift up for your swan, and then you lower all the way back down like we always do. Pressing down and lifting up. Still pull the belly in, still shrug shoulders down. Let the legs be lazy. You don't have to lift the legs, so keeping them on the floor, but reaching them long though. We'll do 1 more, and then you can lower back down. Now this one you can do with the ball if you don't have the roller. You're just gonna bring the arms a little closer together. If you have the ball is underneath your hands. And you're gonna lift yourself up. So as you're in the swan, the hands are really close together if you're on the roller or the ball. You're gonna reach one arm back behind you, but follow that hand as it reaches back behind you. Stay lifted, hold that rotation, still breathe. Come back to center the body, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Twisting, lift a little higher if you can, and then center yourself, and now you get to lower all the way back down. So go ahead and get rid of the roller or the ball if you have it. You're gonna use your hands underneath your forehead and just rest your upper body down for a moment. No gripping into the neck. Both legs are gonna lift and both legs lower. Still try to narrow the waistline so we're not pushing the abdomen down into the floor. Draw the navel up and in. Still pull up on the pelvic floor. Now lift both legs and hold them up and do little beats so you're tapping the heels together. Lift the legs a little higher. Now hold the heels together. Bend your knees so you draw the heels towards the hips, keeping the legs bent, lift and lower the bent legs. Keep pressing the heels together so you feel the inner thighs having to work. Hopefully you're still breathing, that lateral rib cage breathing. Breath up high in the rib cage. Lift both legs and just hold it. Press the heels together a little harder, and then you get to rest back down. So this next one is swimming. Lengthen the arms, lengthen the legs. Lift everything up as high as you can, and then start swimming the arms and legs. You're breathing, shoulders are shrugging down, lifting everything a little higher. Remember, you can take breaks if you need it. Reach longer limbs, shoulders slide down, armpits are pulling down towards your hips. Take 1 more deep breath, and then you get a rest. Let's come up into the child's pose stretch, rounding your spine towards the ceiling, C curving. We're gonna do the kneeling leg kick. So come to all fours, wrists are right underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. Now the knees can stay on the floor, or you can go ahead and lift the knees so they hover. You're gonna kick one leg up, lower down, kick the other leg up, and lower down. Be aware that lower leg is just hovering off the floor, staying stationary, as the opposite leg is swinging, hinging at the hips. Long straight line through your spine, shoulders still sliding down. Push the floor away a little harder to get stronger, straighter arms, and you'll even feel the upper back working to feel the shoulder blades spread apart. You do 1 more kick on each side, and then when you rest back down, just round your spine towards the ceiling, feel the upper back spread apart, tuck the tailbone under, and then sink into an extension. So forehead and tailbone to the ceiling, but your ribs are pushing down. When you come back to your straight line, we're gonna go into leg pull front on this one. So if you want to, give yourself that extra challenge, you could put your hands on your roller. Otherwise, just hands flat on the floor. You can modify this too by staying on your knees, but if you can, we're gonna lift up to straight legs and just hold here in the plank. If you're ready to work harder, you add the leg lift. Keep strong arms pushing the floor away. Keep your neck in neutral so you're not dropping chin to your chest. Pull the belly in, squeeze in the glutes. Just do 1 more on each side. And then when you're ready, you can rest your knees back down. Now we are going to do a tricep press next. So if you need to modify this, you can still do this on your knees. You could just get into a plank and hold that. If you can with a tricep push-up, remember you're bending the elbows real close to your waist instead of winging them out to the side. So get into your plank. Hopefully I can do this today. You're going to bend the elbows close to your waist and then lengthen those arms to straight. Keep your abs tight and pulled in. Keep the elbows close to your waist as the elbows bend. Use your breath too to help you get through it. Exhale, pushing the floor away. Feel the shoulder blades spread apart too in the upper back. Let's do one more. And then when you're ready, you can rest back down, sit back to your heels and lengthen the arms. We're gonna go into a thigh stretch next. So if you want, you can use your ring, your ball between your hands. If you have weights, you can use weights. I think I'm gonna go for weights right now. Knees are right underneath your hips. You're in a straight line from shoulders to knees. I'm gonna hold my arms straight out in front, but you can always bring them to your side. Roll the shoulders down and back, hinge back from the knees, and then return right back up to straight. You could curl the toes under if you don't want to keep the tops of the feet flat on the floor. Hinging back, feel that thigh stretch, and then feel those thighs working to pull yourself back up. Still try to narrow the waistline, pulling the belly in. Always pull up on the pelvic floor. Now the next time you hinge back, let's try to hold it if you can. Stay in the thigh stretch and then lift and lower the arms. Try not to grip into your neck. Remember, you're still pulling the belly in. Just do one more lift and lower the arms, and then you can come right back up to face front. So stay on your knees, but if you're tired of being on the knees, you can do this seated on the floor. We're gonna have one leg straight. These are kneeling leg kicks. They're kind of like the side leg kicks. So I'm keeping my weights. You're gonna tip over to one side, one hand on the floor, opposite leg long and straight. And we're gonna lift and lower the top leg. Trying to lift that leg as high as you can. And the top arm can reach to the ceiling. You can have the arm bent with hand behind your head, or you can go ahead and put hand on your hip. Because I'm working with the weights, I'm gonna keep the arm straight up to the ceiling. Still breathing. Long straight line through your spine. Now lift the leg and hold it up, and then swing forward and back. Not moving the upper body. Or the lower arm is still strong, pushing the floor away, and long straight line through your spine. Do one more. When you bring the leg right back to center, we're just gonna do a stretch. So take that reaching arm way overhead, the side bend stretch. When you come back up, stand tall on both knees so we can pivot over to the other side. Reach that leg long and straight, and then up and down. Keep pushing the floor away with the lower arm. Still shrugging shoulders down. Lift that leg a little higher if you can. Now hold the leg at hip height, and then you're gonna swing forward and back. Lift the leg a little higher, still breathing. Do one more forward kick. Last kick back, and then center the leg and just take that arm way overhead for a stretch. And now let's come back down to seated on the floor. We're gonna go into spine stretch forward. So sit with your legs straight out in front of you with your feet flexed. Arms are long and straight, shoulders are shrugging down, you're pulling the belly in, and your upper spine is gonna stretch forward into flexion, and then stack right back up, growing tall. Folding forward. Inhale, stacking back up. Try to narrow the waistline. So if your arms are long and reaching, you're holding the ring, try to squeeze that ring a little tighter. If you have the weights, hold those wrists up level with the shoulders. Stack back up. We'll do one more. Stretch the upper spine forward, exhaling, and then stacking right back up, growing tall. So I'm still working with the weights. So you can just do reaching arms or you can keep squeezing the ring. We're doing spine twist. Before you rotate, bring your legs a little closer together so ankles can be together or more in line with your hips. You're gonna twist to one side, come back to center, and then do the same to the other side. This rotation is only in the waist, so hopefully your pelvis is not moving. You're growing tall from the sit bones. Reach longer arms away from center. Shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. Twist a little further on each side. Finish up this last set. And then you come back to center, we're gonna hold it. So you can get rid of whatever props you have in your hands, because now we're gonna go into leg pull where we're facing the ceiling. So it's kind of a reverse plank. Hands are back behind you, point the feet, glue the legs together, and then lift the hips up. Hold your hips up high. You could just stay here and hold. If you want to, you can go back down to hips on the floor, but you're gonna alternate the leg lift. Exhale as you lift that leg to the ceiling. Forcing air out of the lungs. Do one more on each side. And then once you rest your hips to the floor, fold forward over the legs and stretch. Now scoot your hips forward towards the top edge of your mat. We're gonna do rolling like a ball. So hands on your shins, shoulders shrug down out of the ears, feet are off the floor. You're gonna roll back to your shoulders as you inhale and then come right back up to balance. Hopefully the feet do not touch the floor, and hopefully you stay in this tight ball the whole time. If you don't need the hands on the legs to hold yourself into a ball, reach your arms long and straight. Squeeze the legs together, pull the belly in deeper. Let's do one more. Rolling back on the inhale, pull up on the exhale, and then hold. Let's go right into teasers. To keep those legs gluing together, you can put your hands on the back of your thighs now instead of on your shins. If you don't need them, just keep your arms reaching. You're gonna lengthen the legs up to straight. Remember, you could just go to tabletop position with the legs if you can't hold them straight. Now lift the ribcage higher, glue the legs together, reach longer arms, shoulders shrug down, still breathe. And then you can finally rest back down. Keep your feet on the floor. Keep your feet close to the back edge of your mat, the bottom edge, as you roll back onto your back. When you're on your back, we're going into teaser, but we're gonna keep the legs bent. They don't have to be together. They can be more in line with your hips, but it's okay if they are together. You're gonna reach your arms to the ceiling, alternating the leg lift. So upper spine is gonna curl up as you extend one leg to straight. It's fine if it's just the upper spine that comes up, but if you can pull all the way up into this teaser, and then you roll back down to the floor. And then we're gonna alternate. Exhaling as you come up, hold at the top for a deep breath, and then rolling right back down. If the legs are together, squeeze them together. Forcing air out of the lungs as you come up. Try to hold at the top for a deep breath, and then rolling down. We'll do one more on each side. Hopefully you even up your set. Try not to grip into your neck, peeling your spine up off the floor evenly, and then rolling back down. Now bring the legs to tabletop position, squeeze them together. As the spine comes up, both legs lengthen to straight. Hold at the top for a deep breath, and then rolling back down, arms to the ceiling. Take a deep breath in, exhale, lift. Holding, breathing, and then rolling back down, arms are straight. You have two more. Focus on squeezing those inner thighs together. And then roll down. This is your last one. Try to hold it a little longer if you can. So get up there and hold. Pull the belly in, stay balanced. Lift the legs a little higher. And then when you're ready, you can rest back down. Now take a break here if you need it. If you're ready to work harder, lengthen your legs down onto the floor to straight. Arms are going to be to the ceiling. You can keep with the tabletop legs though, if you don't want to do this full teaser, the legs coming from the floor. So arms to the ceiling, the first thing that comes up is going to be your head, so you look into your belly, and then the spine and legs lift at the same time, coming up into that teaser. And as you roll down, keep chin to your chest and slowly lower back down. Head is going to be last to rest. That just helps protect the neck. You have two more. Looking in the belly and lifting up. Hold at the top for a deep breath, squeeze the legs together, and then rolling back down to the floor. Let's lift up and try to hold there if you can. Holding, squeezing those legs together, pull the belly in, and then resting back down to the floor. So one more, but let's make it even harder, and hopefully I can do this today. When we get up into the teaser, you're gonna do what kind of look like scissor kicks, but it's like an alternating leg lift instead of that quicker scissor motion. So arms to the ceiling, pull the belly in, lift up into that teaser. Now hold here if you can. One leg lowers, lift it back up. Other leg lowers, lift it back up. So hollow out the abdomen, moving with control, trying to stay balanced, just behind those sit bones. Do one more on each side if you can. I'm losing it. After you come back to center, you can rest back down and give yourself a breather. So while we're on the floor here, go into a side bend stretch. Walk your ankles to one side as you bend your upper body to that same side. Still breathing. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Walking your feet over and then stretch. When you center yourself, we're going to go into a shoulder stretch. So make sure you have enough room around you that you're not going to be smacking things. The knees are bent. You roll over onto your side. You're going to use your lower arm for neck support. Top arm is a circling arm. And we're trying to get as much range of motion out of this top shoulder possible. So you could start your circle in either direction. You can go up past your ear or down past the hip, or roll through that shoulder and move slow through the stiff parts. You might feel a little snag. You just go slow. You can always shorten the range of motion if you needed to. Taking the deep breath. When you're ready, you're going to change direction of that circle, going around the opposite. Still try to narrow the waistline. Reach longer arm away from center. After you finish with that arm out in front of you, you can go ahead and roll over to the other side so we can get the other shoulder. I'm going to swing around to this side. Legs are bent, it just helps with the balance. So we can focus on the shoulder stretch here and get as much range of motion out of the shoulder possible. Already knocking this stuff down. Inhaling as you start, exhale as you finish. We did 3 in each direction on the other side. So after you finish your third circle, you're going to go ahead and go in the opposite direction. Still taking the deep breath. Roll into that shoulder. Hollow out the abdomen. Do your last circle. When you finish back to center, we're going to hold and come right back up to seated so we can go into our mermaid. When you sit in the mermaid position, so this is Z-sit pattern. You could sit with legs straight out in front or the crossed legs. So we're going to stretch away from the direction of the feet. So fall over and stretch. Remember, you're not locking that elbow and jamming the shoulder into your neck. You want to keep the shoulders slid down. Fall over, deep breath as you stretch, and then pulling back up. We'll do one more, but this one we have the rotation. So fall over, twist and look at the floor, twist back to face front, and then coming all the way back up and stretch. Let's swing the legs to the other side. Fall over for the deep breath, and then pull up and over on the exhale. Try not to move the pelvis. Just stretching our spine from side to side. Let's fall over and hold this last one so we can add the rotation, twist and look at the floor, twist back to face front, and then come all the way back up. And naturally, after this, we go into the side bends. So bring your feet close to the bottom edge of the mat. Remember this, as top leg is crossed in front, and your lower hand is up at the top center. You can keep the lower knee on the floor if you want to do this modified version. Still work on balance and getting the side bend stretch. Takes a lot of pressure off the wrist. If you can, lift all the way up with both legs, lengthening the straight stretch. Still breathe, and then lower back down. Let's lift up again. Be our third one on this side. And then resting down. Swing the legs over to the other side. Feet are close to the bottom edge, hand at the top center. Lift up and lengthen both legs as straight. Remember, you can always keep that lower knee on the floor if you needed to. And again, lifting up, deep breath up high in the rib cage. Shoulders are still shrugging down. On this last third one, try to lift the ribs as high as you can to get a deeper side stretch. And then you can rest back down. Now we're coming on to all fours. We're gonna end up making our way up to standing, but before we get up there, just do a little calf stretch. One leg reaches back to straight, reaching that heel to the wall behind you. And then we'll do the same stretch on the other leg. A calf stretch. Now when you lengthen both legs to straight, walk your hands to your feet or feet to hands and pull yourself into this standing forward fold. Tighten your abs, soften the knees, and then bring yourself all the way up to standing. So we're gonna go into the Pilates push-ups. We'll do 2 sets of at least 6 push-ups. Feel free to do more if you want. So stand at the back edge of your mat, feet parallel, reach your arms up to the ceiling, and then round your spine down. Come all the way down to the floor. It's okay if you need to bend the knees to get there, but walk your hands out to the top of the mat. Hold in here, we're gonna do our 6 push-ups. So bend and straighten the arms. You can do the tricep push-up or the chest press. Either one is fine. Remember that you're exhaling every time you straighten the arms. Remember to keep your neck in neutral so you're not sinking face to the floor. After that last push-up, walk your hands to your feet. Pull yourself into that standing forward fold, and then come all the way back up to standing. We're gonna do the balance challenge with the next one. Elevate the heels. Keep your heels up off the floor as you round all the way down to the mat. Coming down into that forward fold, keeping the heels elevated. Walk out to your plank. Remember, you can hold the plank if you want. Otherwise, do your 6 push-ups. Bend and straighten. Breathe in and out. Still trying to narrow the waistline. Shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. Do that last push-up. And then you're gonna walk your hands all the way to your feet. Remember to keep those heels up to strengthen the ankles, the arches, your calves, and challenge your balance. Come all the way back up to standing with those heels still lifted. And when you're staying tall, you can go ahead and rest the feet. We'll do our calf raises. So parallel feet, just lift the heels in lower, not letting the heels completely rest. Still try to pull the belly in. Still pulling shoulder blades together. You can do 2 more. And then go ahead and rest your feet. So parallel feet, 1 foot goes forward though, 1 foot stays back, and these are our hamstring stretches. To keep the flat back with your hips squared off facing forward and lean into the forward leg. I always give you that extra challenge. If you can, flex that front foot to deepen the stretch. Lean deeper into the legs. Go ahead and switch. So keep those legs straight, your spine straight, and then hinge forward. Lean into the opposite leg now. Flex the foot of the front leg. Lean a little deeper. Shoulders still shrug down. Lean in a little deeper for 1 more breath. And then you can come up, but keep your feet where they are for a moment. We are gonna come all the way down to the back knee. So the back knee goes to the floor. To make this a deeper stretch, move that forward foot a little bit further forward and just lean into that lunge. So it's more of a hip flexor stretch. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Leaning into it. Sinking those hips low to the floor. Remember, shoulders are down, your abs are still tight and pulled in. Keep your hips squared off facing forward. When you're ready, you can come down to seated. Just sitting however you're comfortable. You can go ahead and shrug your shoulders up to your ears and then down. Shoulders up and down. Do 1 more. And then do your neck rolls. You can go around in either direction. And then go ahead and reverse. After those neck rolls, just sit tall, keep your shoulders down, keep your abs in, and you guys are all done.